the second one? Ah, okay. You're there. We'll wait a few more minutes. Is that ours? Yeah. And then we simply close the door. And maybe it helps if we.
Should we begin?
No, just.
Okay.
But you're ready.
Oh.
It seems. You're.
Okay.
No, you are okay. So you're ready.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think we start. So, welcome again to the thesis presentations. So I see there are a lot of new people. So my name is Jürgen Börsler. I'm a colleague of Tony Gorzek, who uses to run these sessions, but he's ill, and so I'm the stand-in for him. And as the next presentation, we will have a thesis presentation about data warehouse testing. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. So, we are basically two students of Masters in Software Engineering, and we were conducting our thesis in the field of data warehouse testing and exploratory study. Our supervisor was Dr. Chiram Ginchel, and our industrial supervisor, Anika Vadilius from Projektsasan IT. And unfortunately, she was unable to come over here. So during this presentation, we will be going through I will be discussing the introduction, and Ahmad will discuss the different research methods that we follow, as well as the results of those research methods. And finally, I will be taking over again to discuss the improvement suggestions for data warehouse testing, and at the end, I will be concluding this study. So, what exactly is a data warehouse? Simply put, data warehouse is a system that consolidates data periodically from the data sources into a dimensional or normalized data store. Normally, it keeps years of data, so it's a quite huge repository. This data can be used for different purposes, for analytical purposes, for reporting purposes, and for statistical purposes. The basic components of data warehouse includes data sources, which can be databases from sister organizations, different departments like marketing department, sales department, employees department, human resource department. These data sources can include different kinds of document files, relational databases. Okay, once the data is actually extracted from these data sources, it is transformed and saved into a temporary location called the staging area. Here it is further cleaned of any anomalies and transferred into the relational database management system, which is quite a huge storage. From there, as I already stated, data can be extracted for different purposes, like from data mining tools, custom reports, statistical tools. Why data warehouse testing is interesting? Well, it is difficult and different from generic or non-database systems. Just to consider a few examples, for data warehouse testing, we require a huge amount of test data. And secondly, there are unlimited testing scenarios for data warehouse testing. So it's quite difficult, and another problem is this, that we have lack of testing tools for data warehouse testing. Every year it causes huge losses to US businesses in United States, and that's why we were quite interested to study and improve this phenomenon. Our study purpose, first of all, well, it was required by Försäkringskassan, which is a Swedish public organization. Secondly, to gather the available testing techniques for data warehouse system, to consolidate the challenges, and to improve the testing of data warehouse systems. In order to achieve our purpose, we formulated these research questions, which focus on gathering the current state of art in data warehouse testing, as well as to identify improvement opportunities in data warehouse testing. In order to conduct our research, we actually followed two phases of research methodology. And the first phase included exploratory phase. It consisted of research methods like systematic literature review, case study at Försäkringskassan, and interviews with different organizations other than Försäkringskassan. And once we gathered the data from there, we gathered our findings. All of the data was analyzed using qualitative data analysis technique, and here RQ1 was answered. These findings were later confirmed or disconfirmed in the second phase by conducting additional interviews in the industry. And so once we were able to confirm or disconfirm the findings, we classified the challenges and then addressed the research question 2. Now Ahmad, my partner, will be talking about the research methods.
Thanks, Shahan. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start talking about the different research methodologies we have followed, and after that I'll follow it with our two main of our contributions. To start with the systematic literature review. Actually, our literature review is consisted of mainly two parts. The first part was conducting a systematic literature review following the Balaccini template, which is basically based on Kitchenham's guidelines and some other standards and templates. Now, the reason for behind conducting this systematic literature review is to search for peer-reviewed articles that are discussing our or concerning our domain problem. After that, we have conducted a snowball sampling technique based on the findings of the systematic literature review. There are two reasons behind conducting this technique. The first one was to recover some articles, the peer-reviewed articles, that maybe we have done some mistakes during the systematic literature review and we missed them. And the second one is to collect the non-peer-reviewed and the gray literature, which the researchers believe they are important for our topic. The results of this literature review was we found 21 tools for data warehouse testing, 12 techniques, and 21 challenges faced in the data warehouse testing. Let's go for more details. Now this figure shows our literature review. The upper, let's see, this one. Okay, from this part to above is the systematic literature review, and here we have the snowball sampling technique. Now the box and the boxes and the clouds are representing the filtering or the inclusion-exclusion criteria levels, and the numbers over here representing the number of the articles we have found. Let's go furthermore. In the first box, we see here that we have different 8 databases we were looking for. For each database articles, we have applied 3 different levels of filtering. The first level of filtering is we were looking for the articles by reading their abstracts and titles. What we found from them, it goes to the second level of filtering, which is reading the introduction and conclusions. Now, furthermore, we go for the first level of filtering, which is reading the full text. After that, we select what we want from what we want and what we think it satisfies our need for answering the research questions. Now, after conducting from each database, we merge the findings and we remove the duplicates of the among the articles. So we ended up with 19 articles. These 19 articles were used as a base articles for the snowball sampling. Now the snowball sampling technique was conducted in the both directions, backwards and forward. Backward snowball sampling, it was like these 19 articles we found, we were looking at their reference list and we select the articles that suit our purposes. The forward snowball sampling technique is like we were looking for other articles which used these 19 articles and cited them in their research. And we ended up with 44 articles as a total. This figure shows the results of the findings. It's actually the distribution of our findings over the years. The blue boxes here shows the peer-reviewed articles. The yellow boxes shows the grey literature. The red one shows the books. Now, interestingly, we found that there is our topic become more interesting and more focused in the research society recently, especially from 2005. Now, this is important to know because it shows us that data warehouse systems are more used and popular in the industry. Okay, the next two research methodologies are the case studies and the interviews. To start with the case studies, it was conducted in Forsakris Kasan, and the reason for conducting it is to understand the process of their data warehouse development and testing. During that case study, we conducted several interviews with 6 practitioners who were enrolled in they had different roles, but they were involved in the testing and development of the data warehouse system. We found 7 challenges, 12 techniques, and 6 different tools for data warehouse testing. Also, we conducted several interviews, industrial interviews, and with 11 practitioners located in different places in the world. The interviews is conducted into 2 phases: the exploratory phase and the confirmatory interviews. The exploratory interviews will focus more to collect the challenges, testing techniques, and the tools, while the confirmatory interviews, they had 2 purposes. The first purpose was to confirm the challenges and testing techniques and tools among the practitioners, like to see, have you faced this challenge, have you faced not, have you heard about this or not? The second purpose, which we believe that is more important, is to collect the advices and suggestions of how to overcome these challenges. Now, our contributions and summary of the results of these different studies. I'm going to describe more, focus on 2 of our main contributions. The first one is level of conformance about the challenges and the classification of the challenges. Now let's skip this slide and let's go directly to the important. This figure shows the level of conformance about the challenges found during during conducting the different research methodologies. The blue circle here shows the challenges found during the systematic literature review. The red circle shows the challenges found during the case study. The green one shows the challenges were found during the industrial interviews. Now, if you look here, we have like around 47 different challenges. However, there are only 2 challenges which are common among the 3 different studies. And in general, there are very few common challenges. And if you notice here, among these 2, there are no common challenges among them. Now, we believe the reason behind this, that is because each organization has their own environment and their own requirements for building the data warehouse systems. Therefore, they have different requirements, different ways of building it, and therefore they have different ways of testing the data warehouse. So the testers will find or face different challenges. That's how the changes are not so common among them. Okay, this is our second contribution. We did not only gather the challenges, but we also provided a classification, simple classification could be, in order to organize or to be like used as a plan for the developers or for the testers or for the people who are working in the data warehouse development of how to improve this the data warehouse testing and overcome the changes. Okay, the changes are there are three basic classes over here. These classes were taken from Fenton's. And these classes are products, processes, resources. All the changes has to be fall under products, processes, and changes. Which means, for example, products, all the changes that are faced during testing, and that has related to any documents, any code, any review, or something. For example, we have here about the documents. We have like development standards. Like following the standards changes because of there are different standards from different companies. We have like about testing data, the data which are prepared for testing purposes. All these challenges are classified accordingly. So this was our second contribution, and now Shahan will continue more about how to overcome the challenges. And please, Shahan.
Okay. For the improvement suggestions, first of all, how we came up with the improvement suggestions. These improvement suggestions were based on the results of the SLR, like the solutions that we found in the SLR for different challenges, as well as from different suggestions coming from different interviews. However, there were few challenges which were not addressed anywhere, whether neither in SLR, nor in interviews, nor in case study. And for that reason, we first of all leave those challenges for future study, because we consider it as our contribution that we identified these things which have not been discussed anywhere. However, in order to guide the future researchers, we came up with our own suggestions from different literature studies outside the domain of data warehouse testing. Like it can be from ordinary system testing, just to guide the future researchers. First, I will be talking about the suggestions, and later on I will be mapping these suggestions with the respective categories. We have given the suggestion of a creation of universal team. This suggestion comes from by considering the reason that once the data sources have been incorporated into the data warehouses, the data source organization people are not at liberty to perform any modification to the data sources. If there is any need for performing any kind of modification to the data sources, everything should be communicated to the data warehouse team so that all proper impact analysis can be performed. Therefore, we consider that a universal team should be created in which there will be members from DW organization as well as from the data sources team. This team, in order to create effective communication, we can create a web portal where if there is a need to perform any changes in the system, they can just raise an issue in the web portal, and the concerned team members can conduct impact analysis according to themselves, and if there are any raised issues, they can raise it over there. So it will be quite effective communication. Right now it's not happening like this in the industry. Training of testers. All testers should be skilled to understand normalization rules, dimensional normalization rules, queries testing, etc. Use of software metrics. Software metrics helps to characterize different units of deliverables, processes in a software project. It can be used, if it is used properly, it can be used to predict the success or the failure of the project. Various metrics have been suggested by ISO Product Quality Standard 9126. There have been some studies which focus on specifically for data warehouse projects. So we have found them as a result of our SLR. They can also be used for software metrics in data warehouse testing. Use of exploratory testing. Well, exploratory testing maximizes the tester's creativity. They feel proud that they are using their own creativity rather than following someone else's steps or instructions. It is suitable for situations where there are unlimited testing scenarios. As it is a way of thinking, therefore it can be incorporated into any form of work, whether requirements engineering or development task or testing task. It can be ideally used with bug bash. Bug bash is an environment where people from different departments, different teams sit together under the same roof. They test the system according to their own perspective in freestyle exploratory testing, like without using any test cases. And if there is a conflict of requirements they discover, they can easily fix those requirements with the concerned people at the same spot. So it's quite effective. Development of communities of practice for effective communication. We suggest that encourage informal communication, because informal communication can effectively distribute the tester's tacit knowledge throughout the organization. And in Sweden it's quite popular because we have fika breaks and other kind of get-togethers, but in other countries it's not that much popular to have some socialization in the organization. So we believe that this can reduce the impact of employee turnover. Use of defect management tools. Well, simply put, defect management tools can identify the increasing or decreasing trend of defects in software project. They can also help to identify the error-prone areas of the project. Validation tools have been identified from our SLR study, as well as from the interviews. Different people suggested different tools. They can also be used for data warehouse testing. Now, test data creation strategies. The most effective test data creation strategy would be to actually create the sample test data at the data source organizations. Ask the people at the data source organizations to create the sample data for you, and let them use exploratory testing while creating the test data. This way, test data can include numerous kinds of scenarios, and it will be quite rich in test data. If you want to increase the amount of test data, there are different tools that we have identified that can explode the quantity of test data. Use of carefully controlled databases. Well, I will just give an example over here. If you are using unit testing, you don't actually need to require a terabyte amount of test data. You just require a few megabytes amount of test data for conducting the unit testing. So that's why you need to use different sizes of test data for different purposes. It can be quite effective, productivity will increase as well. Like, you don't have to wait for sometimes 10 minutes, 20 minutes for getting the data. Detailed documentation. Everything should be detailed. This includes requirements engineering, requirements documents, different standard documents, different development documents, design documents, so that testers can refer to these documents and create the test plans accordingly. They can also identify if something is a feature or defect. Last two suggestions include use different types of testing. There is stress testing, usability testing, and so many different types of testing. Use different types of testing because they focus on testing the system from different aspects, different perspectives. Stress testing can focus on checking if the system would be able to conform to the requirements under the peak load. Usability can check if the system is user-friendly. Regression test cases. One of the most difficult problems that we found was related to regression test cases selection. How to identify effective regression test cases from unlimited test cases. So several algorithms have been provided by different researchers, and they can be used for regression test cases selection. Here we have mapped different category names with the improvement suggestions. The categories in red, these are the categories that have not been answered anywhere in the study. So we gave our own suggestions. So, the conclusion of the study and contribution. In this study, our biggest contribution comes from the fact that we have provided a consolidation of DW testing research. so that future researchers, PhD students, or anyone who is conducting research in this field, they can use our resource and increase the research further. Classification for the testers for the industry. In the industry, if the testers are facing any challenges, they can easily come up with different solutions of challenges once they figure out, okay, this challenge is coming under this classification. And then we have provided several suggestions for improvement. We have also identified future research focus towards communications management, budget management, human resource management, effort management, training and skill set management. We also believe that because the data source organizations lie in other organizations, they can be lying across geographical boundaries, which makes the DW projects essentially global software development projects. So none of the study has ever focused on the impact of GSD on DW projects. So we also suggest that yes, future study can also focus on impact of GSD environment in DW projects. We now leave you to hammer us with questions.
Thank you. Hi.
Good work. I just want to ask you some small questions which I will help you in improving your report. By doing your systematic literature review, you have used IEEE and all the other certs thing.
Yeah.
Why didn't you try to use Google Scholar?
The reason was this: in the first phase, in the systematic literature review, we wanted to avoid publication bias. Okay, Google Scholar can retrieve a number of gray literature documents as well. We also believe Google Scholar includes all of these databases as well. So that was the main reason to limit. To focus on publication bias. To limit the impact of publication bias, and that's why we excluded Google Scholar in the first phase. That is when we were following the Kitchenham Balcini's template. We removed that Google Scholar from there. However, in SST, when we were trying to gather the gray literature as well, that has been referenced by different people, we did use Google Scholar in order to see if something has been cited by some other articles or not, because Google Scholar has the feature of showing cited by feature as well.
I can give you in other words, short, that because we were targeting the peer-reviewed articles, so we made sure that we select the databases that they put strict rules somehow in order to make sure that the articles are not biased, as Shahan said, or they have satisfied some criteria of quality or some conditions in order to be published. So yeah, that's the question. Answer the question.
How do you subcategorize the things? You have used the product.
Yeah.
How did you think that these?
The classification.
Yeah, the class. What's the answer?
You can answer it.
Okay. Actually, we wanted to find I would say cornerstone, something like a basement to build the classification from, and we found that Fenton's have Fenton is an author. He has provided a way to classify many different stuff related to the testing and the quality, and it's also used for software measurement for goal question and GQM, and it's used in different ways, and they were products, processes and resources. So we followed the same way of the classification and the challenges, in case of challenges. Yeah.
To analyze the data, we have many techniques. Why didn't you try to use the grounded theory?
Well, for grounded theory, we understand that we should have used grounded theory. However, the problem was this, that grounded theory has a lot of strict steps that we need to follow in order to make it the grounded theory. This includes conducting follow-up interviews as well. and it's not practical for our case because the interviews were not willing to give us more time. I mean, it was very difficult to take time for additional interviews. In that case, we had to use some other technique, which did not require too many follow-up interviews. This was the main reason.
You told you have conducted some interviews, right?
Yeah.
How did you analyze? How did you record the data and analyze the data?
We asked the permission from the interviews. First of all, when we were conducting the interviews in the case study organization, when we wanted to record the interviews in recorders, and they were a bit uncomfortable with this, so we avoided this thing and we just took notes of what they were saying. In the case study, when we found the details, we were able to document everything. I mean, we were able to document their whole process as we understood from different interviews. In order to validate, we sent this document, the whole documented process, to the in charge of the document, and he verified and he corrected us that yes, this is exactly matching to our understanding, and this is exactly what we wanted you to know. So we got this validated and transcribed over there, this way. From the industrial interviews, we asked the people to, if it is okay for us to record the interviews, so we were able to record and later transcribe these interviews. And side by side, if there was some confusion, we just asked them by email that from this thing we understood this reasoning from you. Is it okay? And if they agreed or they corrected us, so this is how we validated as well. So this was how we conducted the interviews. I hope I answered your question.
Hi. Presentation, but I have some notes, very small notes. First of all, I want to start from what is your purpose of the study, aim of the study?
Well, the purpose of the study is to study. First of all, this study was required by Asan. Okay, this was first beginning of the study. Secondly, we found that we have to. I mean, there was no study that had consolidated the DW testing research from over the years. So this was another purpose, that we wanted to consolidate all the research of DW testing. And the other one, the third purpose was to improve the DW testing process. There have been some, as you have seen that from SLR, there have been some studies which suggested some improvements in different categories of testing. But there was no SLR in the field of data warehouse testing.
I want to give one suggestion on this one. In your document, you just mentioned that it is just purpose by the phone-sacking Kasan company.
Yes.
But you didn't mention all these three.
It's actually how it is started. The idea started by
From there, but you have to mention all the.
Yeah, but there is a section. I mean, if you
But you just mentioned that one only.
But yes, I agree that we should write it in the purpose clearly what we mean.
And another one is you conduct the SLR on snowball sampling.
Yeah.
You found 19 articles in SLR
Yes.
and 22 articles in snowball sampling.
Yes.
I looked at the papers which are selected by the snowball sampling. You have selected some papers from ACM, IEEE, on some Spengler link like that.
Yes.
You also performed the SLR in that one. You have found thousands number of articles. What my question is, did you miss? Why did you miss these articles by searching using your streams?
Okay. First of all, like for example, the snowball sampling technique, it was focusing on finding grey literature as well. First of all.
Yeah.
Secondly, the reason we conducted the snowball sampling technique was to minimize the risk of missing out different articles. This was used as a validity threat. I mean, this was why we conducted it. Thirdly, there were articles which were related to database testing.
I know that one, but the main purpose of conducting the SLR is to select the peer-reviewed articles.
Yes.
But some articles, most of the articles selected from the snowball sampling is also peer-reviewed articles.
Yes, yes.
But why did you miss when you are selecting by using your search stream?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for example, there are some articles related to database testing. Now database, if you are comparing database testing with data warehouses, it's quite different. Okay. The reason we found these articles was because we found that the people who have selected, who are speaking about data warehouses, they have somehow used some information from database testing as well.
Okay, I think I got your answer. Okay, let's go to the okay. First of all, in our systematic review, we have searched among 8 different databases. Not all the databases which are mentioned, which are public, and that's why most of these articles that are not here, very few of them, they are located in the these articles, these databases, which we might miss during our systematic review. Because if you see here, like in that one, in engineering village, there in the first head there was like around 2,000 findings. So it is hard, I mean, not to miss one single one. So that's why we have done systematic snowball sampling technique. Now, why we found another peer-reviewed articles? Because most of them, they are located in databases which are not among these databases we have selected.
But I mean, you're correct, but when I look at your snowball sampling, papers which are selected of snowball sampling, I searched those in the ASM, IEEE and Spring Link, as you mentioned the reference. I found those articles in those databases.
You found
but when you are searching, you use such things, I mean, you use keywords like that. Technique, methods, or data warehouse testing. Okay. You are covered all the.
Okay, let me answer you.
But why did you miss the?
Okay, we didn't miss all of these articles. We have done 2 ways of snowball sampling technique: forward and backward. Now, the forward, which are the articles which we have found after the articles we have found in the systematic review. In other words, forward means like you have found an article. Like an article called A, and there is B article which came after 2 months and used A as a reference. Got my point? So what we have, most of the articles peer-reviewed that you have searched among the databases here were actually published after the articles which we found the search string. Yeah.
I didn't say that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
My doubt is, up to my knowledge, case studies, you have to select one case and you have to study about that one. You have to find what challenges they are facing, and you have to suggest solutions for those challenges.
Yes.
I think so. But when you're looking at your case study, you just connected interviews with some employees who is working in the company.
Yes.
But you didn't suggest any mitigation strategies for the challenges which are faced by the company.
Okay.
You just generalize the things, how to improve the data warehouse testing. But I didn't mind, it's not looking like case study.
It's actually like this. The thing that we have mentioned, it's the results of the case study that we have found related to this study. When we have mentioned in our thesis that the original study that was proposed by Forshakin's Kasan was related to gathering a set of data warehouse testing practices. Okay, and in order to improve the testing processes, it was a consolidation of best practices for data warehouse testing. Okay, this was the original study. But our thesis for this way, first because we found that it is necessary to conduct the challenges as well, so that we can provide some improvement suggestions as well. So, and the improvement suggestions that we have found, these suggestions go for the case study as well, that the case study challenges that they were facing, the challenges they were facing in the case study. So these suggestions go for them as well. But then again, this study is not completely related to the industry study that we conducted. There is a difference, a little difference.
Can I say something? Okay. You said, right, we cannot generalize based on the case study, which is true. We didn't generalize. Actually, as I said here, there are no much common challenges among the different studies. There are no much common between the SLR, the case study, and the industrial interviews.
That's right. According to your answer, you don't need to mention that is like a case study. You can mention that interviews which are connected at the
no, but this is what we did. I mean, we have to mention.
What you mean, according to your rating, it is going wrong. Case study means it's a separate. It has separate definition. But you just you can mention that one. Interview is connected to the foreign person, foreign person. It's good. when you mention case study, it's going another way.
But no, but in the case study, we didn't only make interviews.
Yeah, we didn't conduct only interviews only.
We did.
We conducted interviews. Okay.
But, okay.
First of all, the definition of case study is you study a certain phenomenon
Yeah.
under its own, its own environment, okay, for a prolonged period. This study phenomenon is not necessarily to be studied in just one organization. If you are conducting a case study, you can perform if the unit of case is, for example, data warehouse testing, okay, you can combine 3 or 4 documents and you can say that it's a case study and you are asking.
According to your purpose, the company is asking what are the best data warehouse testing practices. You can just conduct interviews in the case study or in the company also. There is no need of mentioning case study.
Oh yeah,
Because
we can
take
take that.
Company also.
So you are saying that we should combine these industrial interviews, the results of case study with the industrial interview.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Because
okay.
I didn't find any difference between case study and industrial.
Yes, we agree. Yeah, we will do that. Thank you.
One more is, if you see this picture, we have challenges from SLR, as you mentioned, case study and industrial interview. We have 5 combination of practices, 8 challenges in combination, right? Challenges in combination.
Common, yeah.
Is confirmation set of as you looking these challenges, you found the challenges combination, combining the interviews and the SLR all these.
Yes.
If you look that one, it is already confirmed that one the challenges which are found in the SLR are also facing the companies are facing those challenges. Why did you conduct another confirmation, confirmatory phase?
Yes.
With other companies? As you mentioned, if you take any different organizations, they will have different data warehouse testing frameworks or strategies like that. So they will face you said they will face different challenges according to their context.
Yeah.
Okay. Then why did you why did you conduct confirmation phase?
Yes. Okay. First of all, for example, there are a few challenges that we found in duration of prediction of queries. Okay, this challenge has been mentioned in SLR. Okay, this challenge has not been mentioned in industrial interviews. Don't forget that SLR includes articles from 1997.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so it could be a possibility. It could be a possibility that the people are saying that no, this is no longer a challenge for us. And we find this thing from different people. And they say this thing that, no, this is not a challenge anymore. Nobody faces this challenge anymore. In that case, we can remove the challenge. Because it is not, the case, the literature study was conducted back in 1997. And we, over here, right, after so many years, people are saying that there is no such challenge that we came across. I'm just giving you an example. Okay. And another thing is this. Another thing is this, that the first phase was conducted simultaneously, in parallel. While we were conducting the case study or the industrial interviews, we were also conducting side by side SLR. Okay, we were not able to systematically confirm or disconfirm the challenges. For example, I interview with some person right now, and tomorrow we find some study and it has some challenge in it. I cannot confirm it right now. So it was necessary to conduct an additional phase after we have conducted all of these 3 things once. It was necessary for us to conduct an additional phase and to validate the challenges.
Now I got it, but you did mention that we have conducted SLR and industrial interviews parallelly. If you mention that
okay,
one,
okay, yeah,
I don't ask this question.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
Let's start with
yeah, we should practice.
Okay. And my one more doubt is coming to the validity traits. You have one 6th one, agreement between the authors of the study.
Yeah.
When you are preparing your inclusion and exclusion criteria, you have differences between you two people.
Yeah.
Okay. While you are preparing inclusion and exclusion criteria, you have differences. Why don't you get differences when you are analyzing the papers?
Well, we didn't find any differences, so we didn't find any differences.
But you got differences in this one.
Okay.
You didn't get
this was conducted, this was saying as a precautionary measure. This was stated as a precautionary measure that if we come across some differences, okay, then we can, for the inclusion and exclusion of the study, we can solve this thing. We hopefully can solve this thing by conducting the reviews or by conducting them together. Okay, and we can discuss and we can solve this solution at that time. First of all, we did not come up with.
The question is not complicated.
Oh, okay. Oh, so sorry.
Okay, you know, as far as you know, you don't have any differences. Okay, in between your understanding. But we don't know how is the understanding between you two people. You mentioned that we have differences in inclusion and exclusion criteria. So you have to say that we have no difference in understanding the analyzing the paper. So you can calculating by kappa coefficient, like you can use some tools like kappa coefficient, anything else. Then we know you don't have any differences in analyzing the tools. Why don't you use kappa coefficient?
Well, we actually just used the, because Balchini was using the Kitchenham guidelines, so we just followed the Kitchenham guidelines. And Kitchenham guidelines state that you can conduct a pilot study before the study in order to remove or clear the understanding of your team members about what to include or what not to. This was the main.
Let me add something,
Okay,
because
but,
also
my question is, how can we know you don't have any difference between understanding and you are understanding the analysis?
I need to mention one major point here. During our systematic review, when we were selecting the articles, we were doing it together in the same place. We were not doing it in different places, so that's why we need to apply like a kind of a prioritization or like weight, like kappa method. So, and after that we check our results. Most of the, I guess all of the time we were selecting the articles, we were together. So if we were finding like kind of like disagreement or like I wouldn't say disagreement, it could be confusion. I would ask Shahan, what do you think? Shall we include this or not? Second opinion. So okay, let's include or not. If we were not so much clear about it, we used to put it. Okay, later we will consider it like separate. There was a list of the articles, but we were not sure about it. And after that, we go again for this list to select what we want and what we didn't want. That's how we have done it. I know. Is it a good answer for your question? Or?
Okay. On my doubt, it is not question. It's my doubt. I think when you're preparing inclusion and exclusion criteria, you will take something. The paper should relate to the data versus testing, like that. So when you prepare data extraction form, I think you have one category, one states about the eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
Eligibility criteria.
I think yes.
In a data extraction form starting.
Okay.
Okay. I think I didn't see that one, but. I think when you are selecting papers, you have already done in the inclusion and exclusion criteria. This paper should, this paper should have this one, this paper should have this one, like that. But why did you have again eligibility criteria for papers when you are extracting the data?
Well,
on paper?
You are never sure from reading the abstract. For example, if you are talking about the abstract, okay, first was checking the title search, then abstract, then introduction and conclusion. We found some articles which were like this. In abstract, it was written something else, and when we read the introduction and conclusion, it was something else. And sometimes we found articles which were the introduction and conclusion matched our case, but when we read the full text, it was nothing like that was mentioned in the articles.
Okay, let me just say one funny story happened to us, and why we went for the to read more than the abstract. We found a very nice article with very nice title with a very nice abstract, but when we downloaded that article, it was in Spanish. So that's why we have.
Okay, but you are saying that your audio problem, but can you go back to your slides? Like your research methodology feature. Yeah, here you said that in level 1 you just read the abstract and title.
Yeah.
In level 2 you just you read the introduction and conclusion. In level 3 you read the full text review. After that one you select the papers. So now what after this one you have some papers, set of papers in your hand. So these are fully related to your topic.
Yes.
Okay. But when you are coming to the data extraction form, you just mention again eligibility criteria. I think this you have already papers, set of papers in your hand. You don't need any eligibility criteria to select papers from these papers. I think so.
Well, it was just for our own, for our own knowledge. As I said, that when you are actually performing the introduction and conclusion as well, okay, and if you are finding that, yeah, this is coming good information as well, so you can side by side check if the information is important for you, you can side by side keep making notes as well, okay, and at the end, if you find that after when you perform the full text review, okay, and you find that, okay, yeah, this article is not relevant to us, you can simply ignore the whole article.
I'll give you another reason. Actually, there is no, we haven't seen one article which is directly important to us. Like everything, every sentence in it, it's important to us. That's why we have, for example, for challenges in data warehouse testing, there is no article that mentions the challenges in data warehouse testing. We had to extract it by ourselves. For example, how to improve the